It is exactly 8:51 a.m. and we now talk with our favorite academic. He is obviously Dr. Tshepo Moloi. He is now with the Ali Mazrui Center for Higher Education at UJ, and he is still continuing as a research associate of the African Center for Epistemology and Philosophy of Science, also an affiliate of UJ. He's here to talk to us about the upcoming ANC January 8th statement, and let's hear his thoughts on this matter. Very good morning to you. Salaam alaikum. Welcome to the program.
Salam alaikum, Julie, and jolly good morning to the rest of the viewers.
Always a pleasure having you. Congratulations. I see you are now with the Ali Mazrui Center for Higher Education, and immediately what comes to mind is the great man, may he rest in peace, alhamdulillah. We know he was a Kenyan-born American academic, a professor and political writer on African and Islamic studies and North-South relations. So a great man indeed. What exactly are you doing, if I can just divert slightly here? How come you are now at the Ali Mazrui Center for Higher Education? What is your role there?
My role is simply being a postdoctoral research fellow, and I will be focusing on papers to do with the history of the University of Johannesburg.
Okay, are you excited about it?
I'd rather we speak about January
8th. Don't be so modest. Don't be so modest. Congratulations to you on this added responsibility at UJ. All right, let's move on then to the January 8th ANC happening. This is going to now, we'll hear all about it this coming Saturday. And this happens annually, the statement that the ANC puts out. Let's understand what it's all about, very especially in light of a very tumultuous year or two that the ANC has undergone.
Okay, thank you. Let me try and just summarize as quick as I can. We know now that the headlines are the fire burning in Parliament. And of course, we also know that we are now in the fourth wave. And also we are reeling. We're coming from a week where all the papers and all the media is reporting on the Archbishop Desmond Tutu's death. So we're a country currently under that toll. And this January 8th statement, 2022, comes at a time where the nation really needs to, President Cyril Ramaphosa needs to take the nation to confidence with everything that is going on in the country. Now, it needs to be said that to understand the upcoming January 8th statement, one needs to appreciate the history of the ANC. The first statement was done in 1972. But before you talk about 1972, you have to appreciate that in 1960, the ANC was banned together with the PAC. This is after the Sharpeville massacre. And as a result of this, they then formed the Umkhonto weSizwe, which was headed under the command of former President Nelson Mandela. And so the ANC then started operating in exile. And Oliver Reginald Tambo would become the live wire, would become the personification, of the ANC in exile. And he, in his capacity as the leader of the ANC in exile, gave the first January 8, 1972 statement. And, predictably, he spoke about the issues of the day. They were in exile, they were fighting against an apartheid regime, and the like. fast forward to where we are today. This coming Saturday is going to mark the 110th anniversary of the ANC. Let's remember that the ANC was founded in 1912 by Pixley Isaka Seme, and but then, of course, he would not be president. That would go to Reverend John Langalibalele Dube. But what was important there is that they were not called the ANC. They were called the South African National Native Congress. The rename would only happen in 1923. So with all of this background in mind, all I'm trying to illustrate is that we cannot appreciate and understand the January 8th statement outside of the context of the history of the ANC. And so what President Cyril Ramaphosa is going to try and do, he is going to give the position of the National Executive Committee of the ANC in terms of what do they perceive as their program of action for this year. Why is the January 8th statement important? It's important because the ANC is a ruling party, and this statement would be happening on the eve of the State of the Nation address. And so what you will find here is that the State of the Nation address, even though it's a government program, is really influenced by what was said in the State of the Nation. And so, the public just needs to understand these nuances, okay, and these connections. But cut a long story short so that I give you an opportunity to breathe. There's so much that can be said about the upcoming, but it's going to be a jam-packed political year. And it's going to be interesting if he's going to sidestep a lot of the issues that the public wants to hear. The Zondo Commission report that has just been tabled just yesterday. It's actually been publicized, the first part of it. The two parts are still to come. So there's that. And then there's, all the court cases that are coming up. Ace Makashula is in court in February. Mvulane is in court, I think, in March. You have, so it's going to be a jam-packed year. And of course, the ANC itself is hoping to have the ANC Youth League hold its elections this year. And they're again supposed to have regional conferences where they're going to December, the 55th elective conference of the ANC. So it's a jam-packed year, and we're looking forward to hearing what the president is going to say.
Okay, so Dr. Moloi, earlier on I spoke with Professor Duvenage from Northwest University. We spoke about the possible outcomes of this judicial inquiry report, the Zondo Commission report, obviously. So we had a very lengthy discussion. Having said that, obviously this, I'm imagining that it would be, the statement would contain some elements of the report. You've also talked about high-ranking political figures making court appearances. How is that all going to be tackled or addressed sensitively in the January 8 ANC statement? Who's going to make the statement? And I kind of thought that the statement is really about the year ahead. But I should imagine they do need to recapitulate what's happened in the past and how things are going to change and probably made better.
So the formula of drafting the statement is it goes into the resolutions that were taken in the different ANC conferences. Of course, it would take the latest conference resolutions, and then discussions and resolutions taken by the National Executive Committee in any given year. And so the president really would be articulating a summary of the position of the African National Congress. People must not confuse the state of, the January 8 statement with the State of the Nation address. Mm-hmm. Here, President Cyril Ramaphosa is speaking as the president of the ANC, and he's addressing strictly, even though it's open to the public, but he's addressing really
ANC members.
with ANC members. And
right.
Fun fact, last year he addressed an empty media house at the House. This year, in Peter Mokaba Stadium, he's going to be addressing 2,000 members in person because of the COVID-19 regulations. So this is going to be it's going to be colorful. It's going to be interesting.
Moving forward, given everything that has gone down over the past year, the insurrection, the July insurrection, this report that has just been handed over to the president, the fact that there isn't any money to pay ANC employees or the people employed at Luthuli House, it's really going to be a very tough situation for the president. And having said that, I'm kind of wondering, do you have any insights in terms of, we know other political parties don't seem to be in the financial trouble that the ANC is in. How are the parties funded? Are we saying that the funding has dried up, or has the money been ANC finances been totally mismanaged, and that is why they're unable to pay salaries?
It's so sad that the nation is held hostage by ANC internal politics, precisely because ANC is the ruling party of the country. With that said, the Zondo Commission report that has just been released and just been publicized. So we are not talking, things that we are private to. This is now public. That came out yesterday. We now know that 1 billion was used to pay for the Zondo Commission. They've asked for 5 extensions. It has now amounted to 1 billion. With this said, you now are going to need the NPA to prosecute, meaning they have to act on the recommendations of the commission report. What is technical now is that President Cyril Ramaphosa is only going to table this report, or is only set to table it at the end of June in Parliament. And of course, we know the DA is now already making noise that they're going to fight for him to actually table it earlier, right? But I'm saying this because you are raising the issue of funding. The ANC is in deep trouble financially. What doesn't make sense is that so many of their own members, out of government, in private sector and in government, have so much money, but they can't seem to get their act together to help the party. And with this, of course, I've just spoken about the court cases. People everybody's afraid now. If you are going to be associated with anyone who's due to go to court, or whom the Zondo Commission report is going to have recommended they are prosecuted against, everyone now is just, very sensitive about who they associate themselves with, because we're going to see a lot of heads rolling this year.
What is very, very sickening about this whole situation, when you talk about what it's cost the Zondo Commission up to now, 1 billion rands. We have, and I know I probably sound like a stuck record, but these are issues that are burning issues for me as a citizen of the country, is when I look at the high rate of employment, which probably is a result of the high criminality in our country. Unemployment, it's just really a sore point with everyone in the country. Homelessness, the state our hospitals are in, our healthcare system. We have a situation, I talked about it yesterday, Charlotte Macleke Hospital having burned down, and that was arson there as well. you know, and then now you have the fire at Parliament. There is suspicions that it might be some sort of third force at play there for whatever reason. All of this is costing you and I, the taxpayer, our hard-earned money. That R1 billion, if we didn't have the state capture issue, if we didn't have the state capture inquiry, can you imagine how that money could have been put to good use to uplift the country?
You know, Julie, President Cyril Ramaphosa last year said, well, when he became president, he made a pledge in one of his speeches to say he wants his presidency to be defined by the following 4 issues: the economy, job creation, sorting out, you know, the parastatals, and busting corruption. Imagine, this is the tone that he came into his presidential term of office with. And we all know now about Tumamina, right? The Tumamina Brigade. Now, we're talking the economy. As we speak now, Julie, we're on a downward spiral, okay? And really the outlook looks very bleak. Job creation, unemployment has rocketed to the greatest of heights. I mean, you have youth unemployment sitting at 74.7%. Again, parastatal. You know, you have ESCOM. It used 130% more fuel than the anticipated power outage that they thought they were going to use. Which then tells you that the previous year, 2020, well, the previous year to that, it had tripped 711 times. That makes it 72% more than in 2020. So you are sitting here with a situation where the country is on fire. The leadership needs to really get their act together. With what we've seen with the local government elections, we've already seen the voter turnout being the lowest since 1994, which then tells us that the nation really has lost confidence in the leadership. And so in this January 8th statement, the president needs to, try in whatever fashion he can to not spin doctor any of these issues that we have just raised here. He needs to be frank, he needs to be honest, and he needs to, now we're in the coalition era. So ANC is no longer governing like before. Now they have to work, whether they like it or not, transparently, because they're not the only ones to account. They have to now account to the other political parties whom are coalition partners. So we wait to see what will transpire.
Well, we wait with bated breath, or is it just going to be same old, same old? Let's wait and see what happens on the 8th of January. Dr. Moloi, as always, a pleasure talking with you. And till the next time, as always, have yourself an amazing year. Let's hope and pray, inshallah, it's going to be good for each and every one of us. And common sense prevails. Our politicians do the right thing and get the country back on track. It's not impossible, it is doable.
Inshallah. And very good morning to the rest of you.
Okay, good on you. Amin thumma amin. Salamu alaikum. It is exactly 10 after 9 o'clock. You're listening to News and Views on Salam Media. Okay, it's 11 after 9 o'clock, not sure what's going on. We're meant to be taking an ad break, And in a minute or two, we're also meant to be joined by Nafisa Saider, bringing us the financial updates, courtesy, obviously, of Randry Jewelers. Let's stand by for that. And still to come on the show, we'll be talking with Rihanna Musaji, the granddaughter of Marhum Amina Gundawala, and we will be wrapping up with Hussein Manak, the cricket commentator and analyst. We're going to try and understand the state of play at the Wanderers. 11 after 9 exactly.
Breaking stereotypes, moving boundaries, joining hands. Salam Media.